Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's do another video on Canelo and how he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. Still a lot to go in his career, at least a few years of top fights, world-class fights ahead of him. And he already makes a case as being the greatest Mexican fighter in the history of boxing. I mean, if he's not there yet, he's damn well very near to accomplishing that feat. I mean, what more does he have to do? You could complain about controversial decisions, or who he hasn't fought, or what he has yet to accomplish. But officially, he's 54-1, 2 draws, has unified at 168, has won titles in 4 different weight classes. So he already holds that parameter for Mexican fighters, that he surpassed that 3 division weight level. So he has 4 divisions. There's still things to accomplish, perhaps a cruiserweight title, maybe beating a heavyweight, unifying in the light heavyweight division. I know these are things that a lot of fans would like to see him do, especially his detractors. But he already makes a case as being the greatest Mexican fighter in the history of boxing right now. He's number 2 according to BoxRec when it comes to the point system. Marquez is considered number 1. They have him ahead of Chavez Sr. So the top 5 they have for BoxRec is Marquez, Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez, Marco Antonio Barrera, and Antonio Margarito. Kind of surprises me a little bit. But if you had to ask yourself, you've seen all of these guys fight. You've seen Marquez, you've seen Chavez, you've seen Barrera in his prime, you've seen Margarito in his prime. All great fighters in their own right. Especially Barrera and Chavez and Marquez. He solidifies himself as one of the greatest in Mexican history. Getting that knockout victory over Pacquiao, come from behind win, ducked at the 5th fight, is all good, and couldn't beat Pacquiao's leftovers in Bradley. Marquez falls short in my eyes because, to me, Canelo's better than Marquez. I mean, he's just a more complete fighter. I mean, Marquez is a great counter puncher. He's a great combination puncher. He has, great recovery powers. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest chin in the world, but it's like really almost impossible to knock him out. Even though if you can drop him, he gets up and fights harder. But Canelo's better defensively. He's better offensively. He's more of a creator as well. He doesn't just rely on counter punching like Marquez did. So offensively and defensively, Canelo was better overall. And Marquez was unable to fulfill that 4-weight division category when he lost to Timothy Bradley. Also, Marquez had issues with, boxers. He lost one of his early fights to Freddie Norwood. Had some, he had some bad losses. The Chris John fight, he lost that fight as well. So there's some things on Marquez's record that really hurts him as being ahead of Canelo. Also, not being able to fulfill the 4-weight division category. I mean, Chavez, Barrera, Margarito, Morales. I mean, why is it such a bad thing to say that Canelo is better than all of them? And that he really is the greatest Mexican fighter in the history of boxing. I mean, his career hasn't even finished yet. I mean, Chavez had longevity. He fought everybody. But he couldn't fulfill the 4-weight division category as well. He also had issues with, some of the fighters that he fought. He also quit in the ring as well. Could you ever see Canelo just bowing out in a fight? I mean, his career is not over. Let's see how he reacts when he fights a young, fresh fighter in his mid-30s. Then we can judge him on that, later on. But to me, Canelo was better. When, Chavez was a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But pound for pound, Canelo was better. Won in more weight divisions, was much faster, was a better boxer. Chavez was the superior pressure fighter. And, great body work, conditioning, tough as hell, nails. But to me, Canelo was better defensively, better offensively, was the better boxer, quicker, sharper, and the better boxing mind. But Chavez in his own right was, a great fighter. But even Chavez admitted himself after Canelo knocked out Kovalev that Canelo might be better than him. And also, Chavez was unable to fill that 4-weight category as well. To me, he's number 2. I think he's ahead of Marquez because Chavez has the edge on him because he fought more difficult styles than Marquez, and also he has the victories over these guys. He also has better results against these type of fighters. Like the Whitaker fight. I never watched the whole fight. People will say Whitaker won, but who knows? I can't go by what people say. But the official result was a draw. Took an L to Frankie Randall. Didn't watch the second fight, so I don't know how that really occurred. I heard that Randall was handling him in the rematch, but he got a gift. Also got a gift in the Meldrick Taylor fight, the first one. Gift stoppage, but he did turn the teams around in a rematch. He also destroyed Roger Mayweather a couple of times, as well as Jeff Mayweather. Made him quit on the stool. Also has the wins over Edward Rosario. To me, he's number 2, right behind Canelo. It's kind of a toss-up between him and between Marquez and Morales. To me, had they fought, Morales and Marquez, that would have been settled. That score would have been settled. To me, he's not number 1. That's just crazy. Yeah, he knocked Pacquiao out, but it took him 3 tries. He also couldn't beat Timothy Bradley. Morales, his rating hurts him because of the knockout losses. The losses that are here, Raheem. But it's a toss-up to me on who is better between Marquez and Morales. They both have wins over Pacquiao. Morales did it first, and also when Pacquiao was younger and fresher. And Morales has the more decisive victory over Barrera as well. To me, Marquez didn't beat Barrera. So to me, the 3 greatest Mexican fighters in the history of the sport. I'm going by this list, and I'm going by, from what I've seen. I've never seen Juan Sarita fight from the 1940s, so I wouldn't know. Salvador Sanchez, I know some people rate him as the greatest in history, but his career was too short, man. His career was way too short. Died at 23. Had the good wins over Azuma Nelson and the Puerto Rican fighter of Wilfredo Gomez. But you can't say he's the greatest, based on that, just on that run. And, his career was cut short. Who else is here? Oh, Ricardo Lopez. Ranked number 16. You can't rank him that high because, I think he's top 10 greatest Mexican fighters. But you can't rank him that high because he never unified. He had a few misses. He didn't fight Marco Carbajal. He didn't fight Herberto Gonzalez. It took him forever to fight Rosendo Alvarez. That was towards the end of his career. Margarito, I'm kind of surprised he's top 5, but he was in some legitimate big fights, man. Prime Margarito in his prime was a hell of a fighter. He gets a low rating because of his history. the bullshit with the raps before the Shane Mosley fight. But a prime Margarito was really something to watch, man. From 2004 to 2007, those were Margarito prime years. From 2004 to 2008, this was his peak when he stopped Cotto. He had the bad matchup against Paul Williams, but it was a sensational fight between those two in their primes. Also the fight with Joshua Clottey, destroying Cintron 2 times, chopping this guy's ear off. The bad matchmaking with Daniel Santos that got him an L against a much bigger fighter. Santos was a huge 54-pounder. But this is the guy that Mayweather ducked. I mean, Mayweather paid out his contract with Top Rank to avoid this guy. Bob Arum wanted him to fight Margarito instead of Baldomir because that was a much bigger fight. A champion from Mexico compared to Baldomir. I mean, Margarito was the much bigger name. Even though Baldomir had the win over Zab Judah. But Floyd avoided this fight and paid out his contract in order to fight Baldomir instead of Margarito. But, Canelo is the greatest fighter in Mexican history to me right now. And if he's not, he's about 95 to 98% there. All he needs to do is become undisputed at 168, which he has a great chance to do. And I'm sure people are going to call for this fight. Fight Beterbiev and beat him. And then what? What can you say about him now? That his fights are rigged, that he's loading his gloves, that he's juicing. When there's no evidence when it comes to that, I mean, his raps are getting wrapped in front of the commissions, in front of the teams. So what is the issue? He's passing all the tests. Yeah, drug testing in boxing is a joke, but if it's not 365, what's the point of having it, right? So Canelo is about 95 to 98% there. He's already there in my book. Pound for pound, he would beat all these guys. Marquez, Chavez, Margarito, Barrera, Morales. He's just a more complete fighter, better boxer. The more complete fighter out of all of them. Barrera, great boxer. Chavez, great pressure fighter and technician. Marquez, great counter puncher and combination puncher. But Canelo does it all, man. He does it all. And my 3 greatest Mexican fighters is Canelo number 1, Chavez number 2, and Marco Antonio Barrera number 3. That's the way I see it. Y'all let me know what you guys think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.